Us?
Yep.
Hey, we're here. We're live in the Marketing Dojo, and I'm here with Brian. And we've been wrestling in the Marketing Dojo. This is where we come when we have issues that we need to wrestle out, not personally between us, but really with Google. And I know as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as someone who's depending on their website to drive traffic, maybe it's actual clicks to purchase products or services that you're providing for your customers, there has been a shroud of mystery surrounding SEO, best practices on helping your site rank, and not only just what's gonna help me rank, but I know even for my sites that I oversee, there's this fear now because Google is shifting. There's a fear now of like, are the things that I was doing 6 months ago or 6 years ago hurting me now?
Right.
And things are happening so fast, and Brian and I call this the new world of digital marketing. And Google and Facebook are driving us into the new world, but many of us as business owners, we're not moving with it, we're not shifting. And of course we're not, because we're so busy just doing the business that we need to do. But we can no longer afford to do that. And that's really the question is, hey, can I pay for this? I don't have time to figure it out. Here's the deal. It's now costing you too much not to deal with this problem. However, there is some good news, and we want to talk about that today. Google has released about a week ago. I mean, this is super hot off the press. In fact, to the point where we're just still trying to figure it out ourselves. But there is now a tool, and Brian, tell us about the tool and how we can use it. Walk us through it.
Yeah, so the tool is called web.dev. That's the address that you can use and pull up inside of your browser. And what this tool is it's showing you exactly what Google is ranking for in terms of your website ranking, what different specifications they're looking at, which helps them see, is this a good website to point people to or not?
So both what you can do to make better, and then what's hurting you that you need to change right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
So they have 4 different areas of measurement. There's performance, there's best practices, there's SEO, and accessibility.
Okay.
And each of these 4 things are 4 areas of your website that Google is looking at to see whether your website is worthy of their traffic or not.
Right, the thing that I want to reemphasize again, friends, your website, therefore your business, is planted in the field of Google and Facebook. I'm just making it kind of, I'm simplifying it, but that's really the truth.
Yeah.
And because it's their field, it's their rules. And if they're gonna change the rules on you and you're not aware of that, or your web developer is not, or your web team is not aware of these changes, it is going to slow things down, it's going to hurt you. And I just wanna say this before we jump into these 4 things so we can give you guys some tools and tips, practical stuff on how to change, stuff you can do today. If we're not aware of these things, or if we kind of ignore these things, if we don't have the courage to go into web.dev and plug your URL of your website in there, it's like going to the doctor. It's like, if you don't get the assessment of where you're at, how can you know how to change your diet, your lifestyle, what lifestyle changes, that you have to make?
I think that's a great,
that's a
great analogy, because a lot of people, they'll experience pain by not having traffic going in, and they'd be like, oh, what's going on? And this is really a great diagnostic tool to, expose a lot of truth about what's happening on your website.
And so before you just start pumping more dollars into ads, if your axe is dull, or the way that we call it, if your website is a leaky bucket now, that's the first thing you gotta do is shore that up, because then all the traffic doesn't matter at that point. You gotta shore that sucker up. And our minds have been blown as we've been looking at these 4 things and what that means. We're reevaluating everything, our client's website, the things that we're doing. So let's just dive into that so folks can get an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, so the first thing that they're looking at is performance. And this is basically how fast is your website loading. So it's looking at how fast is the page being brought up inside the browser, how long does it take to access the hosting that you have. So it's very critical.
Images, all that stuff, right?
Images as well, making sure that the images are the right size so that it's not taking forever for your website to load.
Sorry, is it also mobile friendliness, all that? There's various things that are looking, is that the performance piece, or is that a different one?
That's a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. So performance is really looking at the speed of delivery. Among other things. And so what is critical for people to do with their website is basically make sure that you're on the right kind of host that loads your website fast. It's very, very critical. If you have basically like a penny host, which is like a really cheap host for your website, Google isn't probably going to direct very much traffic your way because your website won't load very well.
It's like Google is like a doctor or something, but it's almost like they're almost forcing everybody to increase the quality. I'm not going to say it's like they're championing your clients, but it's kind of like that. They're like, look, you have to be better, or we're gonna ping you for it. We're gonna hurt. What am I trying to say? We're going to devalue your site in the overall world of Google if you don't invest in your site to make it more accessible, the performance, speed, faster, and everything for your potential clients.
Because Google, as a business, what they're trying to do is give people the most helpful kind of experience, the best experience on their platform. And if they're pointing people towards websites that are broken or they don't load very well, that doesn't reflect very well on them as a company. Performance, the more you end up getting more traffic.
Okay, so one practical solution today, make sure that your site itself, the platform you're saying that is hosting, all those dynamics that are technical underneath, in the guts of it, make sure that it's fast, it's performing well, right? And you can at least get a diagnosis of it. We're gonna tell you how to diagnose your site here towards the end, but okay, that's one practical thing, and that's in performance. Okay, what's next?
So the next area is accessibility. And this is an interesting area. We've known some of these things in the past in terms of not having a scrolling slider on your website and stuff, all of these flashy different elements that are kind of jarring a person's experience. Google values simplicity and cohesiveness, and kind of like that simple single call to action or headlines that aren't flashing all over the place, doing weird animations, all of that kind of thing.
Wow. So now it's almost penalizing what 5 years ago was super cool.
Right. Yeah. So if you have this, super animated, flashy sales.
We just wanted to let that sit just for a second. No, but you see, I'm saying that the point we're trying to make is that things have changed. And friends, things are changing super fast. And it's interesting too, because they were talking about, like you were saying, people who might be, who have actual conditions or something where they might jar themselves.
So ADHD or certain elements of dyslexia and stuff. They're looking at, in addition to vision impairedness, they're looking at all of these different areas of the web that hasn't been necessarily friendly for all people. And so can a person go to your website if they don't have sight? What happens in terms of how your website is programmed to be able to relay that information? Part of that is for images. People who can't see those images. And so there's text descriptions that are written. That's very crucial. For people who are dyslexic, is the text very easily readable? Are you using fonts that are more friendly on the eye and more trackable?
Is this where that color contrast piece was?
Color contrast, color contrast is extremely important. So Google's not going to value a website that has, for example, white text on a white background. So
something that's so subtle. It's like, look how artsy this is and subtle. And so that's not clear.
So the website that's going to do better is white text on a black background, or vice versa. So increasing that contrast, so you can actually understand what's being read on that display. So
what we're saying, guys, is that Google is now basically giving you the answers to the test kind of before you take it, so to speak. And we're pointing you to this tool because you need to. I mean, now it's just everybody needs it. Everybody needs to be using it. Everybody needs to be updating their site based on this. Okay, so that's accessibility. What's the next one?
So the next wheel that they're looking at is best practices. And chiefly among these is your website secure? So if your website doesn't have that little padlock up in the corner saying like HTTPS, it's secure, or even like that little green padlock depending on what your browser is, they're not going to rank it inside of Google. In fact, this was a couple months ago, they said, we're not going to rank websites that are not secure in this way. So it's like a baseline minimum, does it at least have HTTPS certificate installed on the website? And
Chrome's not going to even load it, or what are they going to do?
Chrome won't even load it. It'll say, hey, this website is trying to, is fishy. even. And you don't want to be in that space, especially if you want to build that kind of trust with your customer.
Right.
And Google's just not going to send people to those websites that pop up and say, oh, somebody's trying to steal your credit card information.
Right. So not only is it from the outside with your clients look bad, but this goes back to what I was saying. It just feels like they're not, I mean, policing I guess is one way, but they're just trying to force everybody into higher security, quality,
Correct.
accessibility,
Yeah.
thoughtfulness.
So the thing is that if a website isn't HTTPS or doesn't have security on it, hackers externally can use your website, whether it's grabbing credit card information or not. They can access parts of your website, manipulate it, and do different stuff to it, and basically use your website as a way to fraud other people, and that's just not good. So, so Google's like, well, we put an end to that. Make sure that everybody's at least using this, so that there's that much more of a hurdle to jump over.
Good. Yeah. No, that's good. So I just want to reiterate what we were saying before, because as a business owner, or maybe a startup or whatever, you're just like, look, I just don't have the time right now, Brian, to invest in that. I think what we're trying to say is, you can't not invest in these solutions anymore. The cost is now too high to not invest in it. Yeah. Okay, lastly, so we can wrap this up.
So the last wheel,
because everybody's crying already, so they're in pain so much. Like, I'm gonna jump off. Okay.
Yeah, the last wheel is SEO, which is your website discoverable on search engines? So this is basic SEO kind of stuff, like, does it have a title that's in an H1 tag, and is the text layered properly, the meta descriptions and all that kind of stuff? Is it generally Google friendly? And I think in the past, the whole conversation of SEO has been in this one single wheel. It's basically been keywords and all this kind of stuff. And the discussion has only been in this one quadrant. Whereas now what we're looking at in terms of the discussion about SEO is actually all four of these elements. Right.
SEO now encompasses all of those pieces. Right.
So your website really isn't search friendly unless it has, if it's improving in these four different categories, not just the one that's labeled SEO.
Right. Okay, unreal. All right, so that was a lot of information, but again, this is your diagnosis that you have to get, and can you tell us how they can do that if they're brave enough to diagnose their own site?
Yeah, so if you want to, and
which we've been doing with all of our sites and our client sites, even just this morning.
Yeah, we've been pulling it up through this tool. It's amazing how much improvement there is to be had. It's showing us areas that we can shore up our own websites. So it's really how to take your website to the next level and how to help more people. And the way that you do this, you can go to web.dev, web.dev. In your browser, mobile or desktop, and put in your website there, and it'll show you those four little wheels, and show you where's areas of improvement. And if you're brave enough, go ahead and take a snapshot of that and put it in the comments below, and we can talk about that a little bit more.
No, you won't. You'll never do it. We know you'll never do that.
We'll post ours. We'll put ours.
Yeah, we'll go first. We'll be transparent first. No, but it's a really important thing to do. But that's only step one. If you're freaked out about that, or what does that mean, or what do these numbers mean, then you have to find someone who understands that. Of course, you can reach out to us. We can help you with that if you want. But you can't, again, the point that I'm just trying to make here, what we're trying to tell you is we can no longer ignore these issues. Just like a doctor's, like, you can no longer not work out, no longer not be eating right. You have to be healthy and make the lifestyle changes so that you can accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. And already you put so much time and effort into your product, so much time and effort into your service, and making your website look pretty. We get that. This is what we do. But if it also under the hood is old and decrepit and it's not working right anymore, you have to invest time and effort into that. The beautiful thing is, for the framework that we use to build sites, the communication framework that we use, the amazing thing is that it works hand in hand with these very SEO pieces. And so you've got to clarify what's going on above, on the outside of your car. When people walk, when they see your car drive by, they're like, oh, I can get that, I read that. Well, the good thing is that clarity helps under the hood. But the reality is there's more than just that. And I think that's what this tool reveals. So you got to get some help. Reach out to us if you need some further information, or if you want us to walk you through some stuff. We're happy to assess your site and really help you understand, okay, point you in the right direction. Here's what you can do, or here's what we can do to help you if you're in that space. Because if you're relying on your site to fuel your business, to fuel the products and services that you sell, the truth is we can no longer ignore this. So web.dev. Any other thoughts or things that can help some folks?
We'll put the link inside the description of this video so you can click there immediately and try it out, and put your screenshot below in the comments.
Yeah, and remember, before there's good news, there's always bad news. So just walk through that valley of the shadow of death, but there will be good news on the other side. But you have to go get it, and you have to invest in it. And that's really, that's really what we're doing. And we're changing, to be super transparent with you, we've come to see this as a major pain point for companies, of course, because their businesses rely on it. Mm-hmm. So even within what we're doing here at Ambient, we're beginning to shift, dive deeper, and begin to create offerings for our clients that are compatible with this reality. Friends, we're in a new digital marketing age. I'm going to keep saying it. The old world and the old world rules do not apply anymore. In fact, they could be hurting you. All right. So look, we just bless what you guys are doing. We're so thankful for people like you who are creating products and services that are helping people. Our job is to help you do it better. See you next time.